what's going on? I am currently in like the yummiest, most cozy place in the entire world. I'm in this nook that we have in our apartment, and it is thundering outside. It's pouring down rain, and I almost didn't make it here. Work was going to be on the back burner today. Then I got myself up, and here I am, and I was wanting to share something with the world in terms of what I'm up to, and I almost didn't because I was like, it's a rainy day, like I kind of just want to stay in bed and marinate, don't want to do any of what I'm up to, but I did because I said that I was going to do it. And what I actually coincidentally wanted to share was power in relationship to your word, like what you say you're going to do. And this morning it's rainy, right? My other half is about to go on a walk in the rain, and I stop him and I'm like, hey honey, what are you doing? And he goes, oh, my morning routine. I need to get coffee, get fresh air, and go on this walk every morning. And literally, I'm like, well, it's pouring down rain and there's coffee here. And he goes, oh yeah, but I said I was gonna do it. So it's on my calendar. Love you, babe. And I go, bye. And that is literally what got me up afterward, is that he does not know it, but he's a freak of nature. If it's on his calendar between 1:30 and 1:45, doesn't matter if he's hungry, doesn't matter if he's tired, if it's a document or a proposal he needs to create in that 15 minutes, he's creating it. And every time I'm like, God, weren't you tired? And he goes, yeah, but you know, it's on my calendar. Can you imagine if what you put on your calendar or your to-do list, you spoke it into existence, and so it was? If everything that you said you wanted to do and you were going to do was the most reliable thing that actually produced this life that you wanted to have, that is what we're talking about. And essentially, we look at Game of Thrones and medieval shows and movies that we watch, and it's like, oh, your word is your bond. And we're like, gosh, we don't live like that anymore. But if you think about it, there's a reason that it began that way, and it still exists today. There's what you say you're going to do, and then there's all these circumstances around why you didn't do it, or couldn't do it, or didn't want to do it, or didn't feel like doing it, that stopped you. For instance, like the rain and the walk this morning, or me getting up and being alive even though it wasn't sunny. Essentially what happens is we say we're going to do something, and then these circumstances and reasons outside of us literally intercept what you're going to do and eat it like a Pac-Man. And then that's called procrastination. Then once someone realizes and asks, why didn't you fulfill on this, or didn't you say you were going to work on that, you give a ton of amazing reasons and a ton of amazing circumstances as to why it didn't happen. Because if you think about it, what stops you? Is it your words, or is it your reasons? It's always the reasons that stop you. So if you could imagine this world where what you said was going to literally happen, that would be being unreasonable, and that would be not giving in to the circumstances that are literally going to stop you from achieving on what it is that you want to achieve. And then you're in full integrity with yourself, right? So people think like, why is this void here, or this hole, kind of surfacing here? If you're out of integrity with your word, which means you said you wanted to do something and you didn't do it, it creates this gap and hole, and you feel incomplete in your life. So why do we do it? Why don't we just not let fatigue or something coming up in our schedule, why don't we just not let it knock us off our block and just completely continue and follow through with what we're going to say? Because there's a payoff. So there's always a circumstance that has us not do something. Then we get something from it, weirdly. Then we realize what it's costing us, and then there's an opportunity to change it. And that's literally what I'm talking about. Is I just described, how the circumstances literally eat what we actually want to do in this world a lot. But why? Because there's some sort of payoff that we get by doing it. And the payoff is that you actually get to be right about you not being good enough. You actually get to be right about you being a procrastinator. And it feels good because you actually just give up responsibility. Like, oh, the circumstance came in the way, so I wasn't able to fulfill on it. That actually feels good because you get to lay the blame somewhere else. You don't actually have to own up to the fact that you didn't follow through. So that's the payoff that we get in letting circumstantial states of being or things happening literally stop us, is we get to be right, and we get to make others wrong. People who believe in us, people who think that we're totally going to follow through, people who see us for bigger than we see ourselves, we get to make them wrong. We get to say, nope, see, I am a procrastinator. See, I didn't get to follow through because, well, I didn't have this piece of paper yet, or this office was closed today. And instead of owning it and taking responsibility for, oh, I just didn't follow through on my word, we get to kind of lay blame. So that's what we get out of it. It's like, why do we let this happen? Because we actually feel good and get something from it. Now here's the amazing part that I love so much, but what's it costing you? Like, what does it cost you to not follow through on the things that you really say that you're going to do and that you want to do? Often it's self-expression. For me, it used to be self-expression. What it cost me to not do things was it cost me my livelihood, and I felt like I wasn't living out my true purpose. And so I started doing things despite what anyone thought. I didn't have a website set up. Who cares? I'm going to go speak at this event. I didn't have an opt-in. Who cares if I'm not collecting email addresses? I'm going to get in the game. And all of a sudden I started feeling complete with myself because I realized what it was costing me was vitality. I didn't feel alive. So that's what it costs you to let the circumstances and the reasons eat you up and eat you alive and stop you from what you initially embarked on. So you have the circumstances, you have the payoff that you get from it, but then you have the cost. And if the cost is big enough, that's when you start to see the shift. And what comes next is the opportunity. So you've identified, I want to be in relationship to my word. I want to say X and I want to do X, regardless of the Pac-Man that's going to come and eat it, the rain outside, whatever the reasons or circumstances usually are. Now comes the opportunity. You can create a way of being for yourself that you just stick to. You say you're going to be a way, and you be that way. And then you'll fall in and out, but you're connected to your word now. So more often than not, you'll realize, oh my God, I said I was going to do it, I'm going to do it. And that payoff is going to be 100 times, going to feel 100 times better than the other one. So essentially you have an opportunity to give up your reasons. Just give them up. Just give up the reasons. Like, let go of all the circumstances that you have that you're pointing to and using as an excuse as to why you haven't done the things that you want to do. Just let them go, give them up. That's your opportunity. And have this amazing relationship with your word. And create a way of being that has nothing to do with your current life. Create a way of being that you would just want to be if you waved a magic wand. It has nothing to do with your circumstances. Because can you imagine if your choices of a way to be were based all off the circumstances that you have in your life right now? Doesn't that keep you in a circumstantial world? You're trapped in that. So choose a way of being despite any circumstances. Give no consideration to the reasons and just choose the way that you're going to be. That's true freedom. You're not trapped within that circumstantial jail cell, if you know what I'm saying. So free yourself. It's unlimited and it's incredible, and that's what I wanted to share today, and I'm glad that I did, despite this lovely rain out today. For some reason that was going to stop me, and yet I'm watching my partner, he doesn't even know that he does it, but he's like, oh no, it's on the calendar, so you have to do it. I'm like, yeah, I wish I had that, which I'm developing, which is incredible with habitual mental fitness. And so I hope that helped everyone. Whatever you're working on, don't let the circumstances get in the way. Kill it, go slay it for yourself, because the opportunity that you have here, the rewards and benefits, tenfold within your system. And I hope they flourish. So love you.